Or what's your definition of occupational therapy?
Oh. So I actually didn't really know much about it until I started working here. And so basically my definition is a very simple one. You help people in all different parts of occupation. So things that they might be having trouble with at work. So it could be something like getting carpal tunnel because you're typing on the computer all day. Or it could be like more like mental health issues related to your job. Or I feel like it's a broad spectrum.
Definitely.
But I don't know, I don't know the true definition.
I mean, that's a really good start to it, because that's definitely a part of it. Another really important part of occupational therapy, and what we kind of pride ourselves in, is being client-centered. So not just saying, hey, this is what you need to do. It's, hey, what do you want to get done? What kind of goals do you want to set? We also look at the person as a whole. So not just, oh, your hand's broken.
Right.
Let's fix your hand. It's like, your hand's broken. What's that affecting? What do you want to fix? So it's client-centered, it's holistic, it's a healthcare profession that empowers people, enables people to do things that they want to do things that they have to do. So,
yeah.
And I think you did a really good job of saying that whatever occupies your time. So whether it comes to like habits, routines, or any roles that you play, not just from work, but also maybe like in your social life, your personal life.
Kind of connects all
just
of them together.
anything. So we're looking at the person as a whole and to see what is meaningful to them and what activities we can do with them to engage back them into their community or whatever they find meaningful.
Yeah.
Totally.
Awesome.
So now that we have that, we just want to move on to how that's going to relate to what we want to ask you. So in regards to quality healthcare, as future OTs for us, we want to be mindful of the different types of cultures that we're going to be coming across so that we can build our competency within the medical field.
So to what degree do you think culture plays an important role in quality healthcare?
For me personally, or
for you personally?
That's a hard question. I think, so I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but I come from a family who never liked going to the hospital, going to the doctor. So it was always it had to be the worst possible. It had to be really bad. I got scarlet fever when I was a kid, and we better take her to the hospital. She's really sick. But I just was kind of always. So I have kind of become that way. I'm fine. I can just deal with it on my own. But I'm also a very healthy person, so I don't need to ever have to go. But that's not mean it's probably not always going to be the case. There's always something that can happen to you. Other cultural things. Yeah.
Obviously, how you grew up affects, how serious you incorporate your healthcare, how often you want to go to your doctor or something. So that totally,
and probably that's connected to with what the healthcare you have available to you as well. So for a long time I worked as a server at a sushi restaurant, and so you don't have healthcare then. But I lived in San Francisco, and San Francisco has this really awesome city healthcare system where it's pretty much almost free. I paid $20. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I even fell on my bike and broke my thumb. I did have to go to the hospital. So, but it was the surgery was pretty much free, and it would have cost thousands of dollars. Totally. So I think, but I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have that free healthcare. So there's that. I think people who are in the kind of jobs where, let's say, when you work at restaurants, usually, unless you work for a corporate restaurant,
you don't really have access.
You don't really have access. But now with Obamacare, I think it is the access to healthcare for people who couldn't get it through their jobs before has increased.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, that's what the goal was for it. So it's good to see. It's working out for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we kind of have a broad base for what we want to talk about, what culture or what subcultures or anything like that do you identify yourself with?
Oh, and this is one I probably should have already brought up because it does, I think, really help care a lot. So I'm a lesbian, and that is especially when you're going to, let's say, you're just gyno, to do your regular checkups. They always ask stuff oh, are you pregnant? Or can you be pregnant?
Yeah.
Or are you sexually active? If you say yes, sexually active, and no, I can't be pregnant, they're well, yeah. So I mean, it's not really I live in the city, so it's not feel like an issue, but you still always feel like, well, it could be like, what if I get that doctor who is like,
Yeah,
gonna like gonna give me some lecture, like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, so that's always kind of something that could happen but hasn't happened to me, but that is, I've definitely heard it happen to other people.
That's
You know?
perfect. That's the kind of stuff that we want to learn about, so that, you know, if we understand your perspective, then we can better handle it on our ends when we're in that position. So thank you for sharing that.
What type? How does your culture affect your occupation? So, like your roles, your routines, habits.
Actually, I think affects it a lot. So, well, I think it's changed a little bit. So, I hate driving.
But you're in Southern California.
I know. So I haven't lived in Southern California for very long. So I always used to live like close in smaller towns. Like, I mean, San Francisco is a big city, but it's also not.
It's like a commuter kind of.
Yeah. So I'm used to walking. Like, that's another part of the culture. I kind of identify myself as like someone who's like a bicyclist and like who, you know, just takes public transportation and like tries to walk. If I can, I'll walk or ride a bike. Like, I try not to get in the car as least as time as possible. So like that has changed a lot. So that used to be a big part of like just getting to work. Maybe not this job, but you know, like taking buses, trains, and bikes to like get to where I need to go. And I think that it does kind of just affect like, I don't know if it really affects how you are at work, but how you get there.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you bike to work and then you're all sweaty. And
Well,
like,
yeah.
Is it okay that I'm sweaty?
I didn't even think. Like you always bring extra. You bring extra clothes.
Yeah.
See,
that's
so
something
yeah. I forgot about that.
So,
yeah.
Did you grow up in San Francisco?
No, I grew up in actually Northern California.
Oh, okay.
Like really, I know people from Southern California think San Francisco is northern, but like all the way to
northern,
the end. All the way to the end. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see if I can add anything else to. I mean, I think. Well, yeah. I guess like being a part of the LGBT community, like you're always like that is something that you're like, oh, don't really worry about it much because I feel like if people have a problem with it, they don't really care. And it's like 2016 and most people don't.
Yeah.
But still, you're like someone could be like. There's always someone who could like treat you differently, or you know. Who might be offended by something you say, or they might say something that offends you. That's another big thing.
And how you feel.
Like how are you gonna deal with it? Like they say something, you know, like all the recent stuff with you know, Orlando, and even before that with a lot of the transgender things that's been in the media. You know, they're just right for someone to say something, and if it's like offensive, you have to like deal with it in a way that doesn't come off as aggressive towards them, but you don't want to just not say anything.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, stuff like that.
So just constantly being aware. Has your identifying yourself as, you know, in the LGBT community, has that affected, like, your work life or just, like, personal life? It's all aware of that.
Yeah. But, I mean, because I grew up in a very religious, fundamentalist religious household, so, like, because of that, I feel like maybe I would be, and I'm also 37. I almost forgot how old I was. So, like, I feel like 10 people that are, like, say 10 years younger than me probably don't think about it as much, and I think about it a lot less than someone 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that I feel like I have to be like, oh, like, no one cares, really. But still, you know, there's always a chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so when we're talking about the culture that you identify with, so what are some of the stereotypes do you think that others hold about you, about your culture?
Well, I can also talk about the stereotypes also for librarians in general. Like, you would like there's tons of them, right? Yeah. You know, we always think of like the little lady with the bun. I mean, that's like the most prevalent one.
And with the glasses.
Yeah, glasses.
You did that right in the butt.
I know. So, actually, and I wish I had glasses. Damn it. why the perfect eyesight? But, so, yeah, I mean, I feel like people will always be, like, surprised and, like, that I'm a librarian if they meet me, or, I think the stereotypes are changing for that because there's a lot of younger, like not like as traditional.
Not old lady.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But still, like it's that, or people will just think, oh, you just like sit around with books all day, but really, like I barely even like. That's not really what we do at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's more everything's like online. Like, we're helping people to find information still. Like, that is always key, but it's way different than.
Yeah, the platforms kind of changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, just kind of going more into your culture. Mm-hmm. So, how did you come across to become a librarian?
Oh, so I have a master's in literature. And I just kind of did that because I was like, I love reading. I don't know what I want to do. I'll get this degree, and spend all this money, and then not get a job that has nothing to do with it. And then I was like thinking when I was writing my thesis, which I loved writing. Like I like writing, and I loved getting it. It was a great experience. I don't regret it. But I was like, okay, either I'm going to get my PhD in literature and go on to teach, or I'm gonna do something else. Mm-hmm. And my mom was a librarian, and so was my stepdad. So I was just like, I just had this epiphany one night. I was like, I should just be a librarian. So, and then ever since then I decided. So before I even finished my thesis, I decided I was going to get a second master's in library science. And I've been happy. Yeah, I feel like it was the right decision.
And you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
And you do so much more things than just give us books.
Oh, yeah.
You taught us 3D printing.
I know,
you did.
So
It
cool.
was really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Okay, so have any, let's now transition into more how the cultures you identify with, like how we were talking about earlier, how it affects sometimes when you see a doctor and it can get kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Have any healthcare providers, whether it be doctors, nurses, whoever, have they made any assumptions off of you based off of the culture that you identify with?
I don't really think so because I honestly hardly ever, like I said, go to the doctor. It's pretty sad. Like I probably should just go people should go a lot, or this for regular checkups. But the last time I went to the doctor was probably when I got the thumb. Broke my thumb.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. So if they have made assumptions I didn't know about, or I just don't remember because it's been so long. I'll just talk about the thumb experience because I can't. That's the latest thing. I had to go to the emergency room, and it took. Oh yeah, this is a good one to bring up because I went to the emergency room. It was taking so long, I just left.
Really? Oh
yeah.
That's something I've heard. Yeah.
And I was just like, and this was in San Francisco. I was like, I just don't want to be here. And I didn't know, honestly didn't know if it was going to be that bad or not. Like, it was, I fell, like, it was this weird, awkward angle.
Yeah.
And then it did, totally just, blow up.
Yeah.
So I knew something is wrong, but I thought, well, maybe it's just sprain. And so I just left. But then in the morning, it was way worse. Mm. So I did go. And then, I actually didn't have that healthcare I was talking about at that time, but they let me reactivate it and then use it after. And I think it is cool. I think that if I was anywhere else, it might not. Yeah. So I went back to the emergency room, and they were asking me if I had insurance and stuff, and then they told me about it's called Healthy San Francisco. So they told me about that. And so then after that, after going to, they took x-rays and said that it's probably broken, and that I could probably go to talk to the Healthy San Francisco people and then get the insurance, and then it would apply. And so it did. It was not, and it wasn't even. It was a pretty good experience. I remember I just had to make an appointment for the Healthy San Francisco. Go there, talk about they ask you for how much money you're making and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, so you can qualify.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I did actually. So I had to wear a cast. That was even though it was just a thumb, I still had to have a cast here. And then like I said, I was a waitress, I was a server at the time, so I couldn't do that job. But I worked there for a long time, and my bosses really loved me, so they let me. I just came in and did hosting.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have to.
Yeah, it was still awkward, but I still was able to work. Yeah.
Okay. And then, is there anything that you wish healthcare providers understood about your culture,
That would maybe make it
maybe easier,
Yeah.
like for anyone within your culture or even for you, that will just make it easier to like talk to or even
Improve the quality of your care.
like access issues or
Mhm.
just being more aware of like, well, maybe they are aware that people have other, things to do, but like I just feel like it's not centered on the user. It's
Mhm.
centered on the healthcare providers and what they like. It's around their schedules and their like preferences rather than the customer. So it's not very customer, I guess, centered or client centered.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it's more you have to come when the
When
when
it's-
it's
Yeah.
convenient for them,
Yeah.
or
right.
at a good time for them.
Yeah, and I don't know how to change that, but it just seems like it's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the app,
Do you have any questions for us? or-
Yeah, I actually have just a general question about occupational therapy. So,
Yeah.
where do you usually get jobs when you like? Do you sometimes work for companies? I guess like you are like the occupational therapist that that employees see, or do you usually work at like a hospital or facility, and then when it's related to person's job, then you guys get called in? Like, how does it work?
Do you want to go? Or
I mean, well, for occupational therapy, the good thing about our profession is that we can work pretty much anywhere. So it's just based on, we can actually work in hospitals, we can open up our own clinics, we can work in schools, jail, or pretty much anywhere where there's a need for occupational therapy, or people need to
Yeah.
get back to their like activities of daily living or anything they find meaningful. So if there's a service or there's an activity or an occupation that they can't engage in or perform in,
Mhm.
then that's where we go in and help them out. So
Okay.
it can be
Yeah.
even like what
That's what
Yeah.
one thing I like about though.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
really
so
broad.
broad. Like it's so many different disciplines.
Yeah.
And the idea like
I mean,
different
yeah,
things all together
totally.
converging into one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It
Yeah.
seems like it's a very cool field. Like, and it seems like more like a very human. I mean, when you think of medical industry, it seems like it all should be like human centered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's medical model right
Yeah.
there. That's something that we partly have to associate with,
Mhm.
because if we don't, then we're not seen in the medical community as relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have to go into that little realm of, okay, this is a patient, you have to see the patient. But at the same time, occupational therapists like to see the person as the person,
Mhm.
not the person in room 24 in bed
Right.
A.
or
Yeah,
just
I mean-
with like an
Mhm.
arm
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
injury.
Right. Yeah. Like you're seeing the person as
mhm.
because like all the questions you're asking me, like I feel like most. If you go to the doctor, they're not gonna like
No.
care about things like you said. They're gonna be like, "You're the person that has this broken arm. Like that's what I need to fix." And then
And that's
without
what they
asking-
only focus
yeah,
Yeah.
right. When some other aspect of someone's culture, it could have a lot to do with
Mhm.
not only like the problem, but like how they would then
how we would approach
how
you.
how would
approach working with you.
right and how because like some depending on what your culture is, you might not want to do certain things
Mm-hmm.
that the person is suggesting. So you
Yeah.
have to, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's exactly the point
Mhm.
of this, is to explore different cultures.
Mhm.
We interviewed you, a bunch of our other classmates
Mhm.
interviewed a bunch of different people
Yeah.
from cultures different from their own. So what we want to do is learn from all these interviews, and so that us as a whole class can take that and hopefully become better healthcare providers because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.